first round guillotine submission of Josh Berkman in February of this year. Not that he's losing that much overall. 14-4-1 record. That one is the no contest. Would be 14-5. Just 4 KOs on his record. 6 submissions. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Also a black belt in taekwondo, although I'm not really sure how much that comes into play for the most part. 5'11", 73-inch reach. Almost the exact same as what you're going to see in Jordan Mein. Fighting out of Gracie Baja in Houston, Texas. Alex Moreno there. Let me take a look and see what the odds are on this fight. Dead even. Minus 115 each is what I'm seeing here. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect here. I think that I would take Jordan Mein. I mean, he has had more upside in MMA. He's a more experienced MMA fighter. Alex Moreno, I think, would clearly have the grappling advantage if it was a grappling-only event. But the hand, and he also has good kicks and things like that. But the hands of Jordan Mein are going to be big. I think this is going to be a bit of a back and forth fight, though. I think it's going to be exciting. I think that both guys are going to be good on their feet. And for Jordan Mein, I think that the answer is probably not to go to the ground until maybe the second or third round, after everybody gets to be a little bit sweaty and harder to hold on to. If I have to make a prediction here, though, I'm going to take Jordan Mein, mainly because of the hometown advantage or the home province advantage for him, by a split decision or a close unanimous decision. Put that in the books. All right, let's move on to the main card here. This is going to be the card. 4 fights on Fox, the big network. I believe, like I said, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific here in the United States. First card on it, to the lightweight division. Back to the lightweight division we go. It's a matchup between number 13 ranked Alexander Hernandez and the unranked Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Hernandez here coming in with just one fight in the UFC, but it was a big win. A first-round knockout with some heavy hands over Beneil Dariush. That's obviously a big W there. That's why he's been jolted into the number 13 spot in the lightweight rankings, which don't really have a lot of room for movement. I mean, that's one of the more stacked rankings of any of the UFC divisions. So that's super impressive right there for him. 9-1 record in MMA, 4 KOs, 2 submissions. Most of the fights that he wins, he's going to finish. Just 25 years old, 5'9". He's going to be fighting out of the Ohana Academy in San Antonio, which I believe is primarily like a Japanese jiu-jitsu and karate gym. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, good up-and-comer there. On the other side, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Most UFC people know who he is. He's been there for a while. He's riding a 3-fight win streak currently. His most recent fight was in April of this year, when he had a performance of the night victory over Evan Dunham. First round knockout with a knee to the face, which ended up resulting in a ground and pound victory for Aubin-Mercier. Before that, he hadn't fought since last September, 2017. Split decision victory over Tony Martin. Not the most impressive performance I've ever seen on that one, but obviously a victory is a victory in the UFC. Nothing to complain about. And before that, his last fight was in December of 2016, where he had a second round submission rear naked choke victory over Drew Dober, who at the time I'm pretty sure was a pretty decent favorite over Aubin-Mercier in that fight. Mercier, 11-2 overall in MMA, 7-2 in the UFC, just 4-0 when he came to the UFC. So it does seem like he's been around for a while. 8 of his 11 wins have come by submission. He's also going to be standing at 5'9", so there's going to be no height discrepancy there. 70.5-inch reach. That's probably going to be a little bit shorter than Hernandez, although his is not listed. Just 29 years old for Aubin-Mercier as well. Black belt in judo, brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Obviously a high-quality grappler. He's fighting at a TriStar in Montreal. Obviously Faraz Sahabi, Georges St. Pierre, all of these beasts, as well as a few other fighters on this card. Cajun Johnson right off the top of my head. Alrighty, let's peek at the odds for this fight. Bovada.lv says Olivier Aubin-Mercier is the favorite. Minus 130 Alexander Hernandez coming in at a dead even. I believe it was a little bit heavier before that. I think it was maybe a minus 160 for Aubin Mercier, and a plus 130 for Alexander Hernandez. So it looks like a little bit of money's coming in on Hernandez. If I have to pick this fight, I like Aubin Mercier, mainly just because of his UFC experience. 9 fights in the UFC compared to just the one for Alexander Hernandez. Got to watch out. I mean, the heavy hands. His last 2 fights, he's knocked somebody out. So you definitely have to watch out for the hands with Hernandez. But I mean, I think Aubin Mercier, he's a fantastic grappler. He's going to be able to get inside of the striking range, probably, of Hernandez, and at least be able to force him into an area that he may or may not be able to defend himself in. It's tough to tell. Like I said, he's fighting out of the Johanna Academy, which is a bit of a Japanese jiu-jitsu-based gym, so he might have more than adequate jiu-jitsu skills. But if I have to make a choice here, I'm going to go ahead and take Aubin Mercier with a how do I see this? I'm going to say a decision. I don't think he's going to submit him. I don't know why. Even though most of his wins have come by submission, I'm going to go ahead and say Aubin Mercier wins by decision. Put that in the books. All right, let's move on to the women's strawweight division. This is going to be an awesome fight here between the number 1 ranked and former champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk and the number 5 ranked Tecia Torres. Joanna champion, obviously her last 2 fights were losses to Rose Namajunas. Decision victory in her last fight. That was in April of this year. That was a pretty awesome fight. And then obviously the first round KO back in November of last year when she was just talking shit while she was undefeated. And Rose kind of did her thing there. Rose, a great champion there, defending her championship against Jędrzejczyk. And but yeah, those are 2 very, very memorable fights. Super excited to see how Joanna looks when she comes back for this fight here. It's no easy test. Tecia Torres on the other side, coming off of a loss in, February of this year. She did have a decision loss to Jessica Andrade. Other than that, she's been on the winning way for a while. Decision victory over Michelle Waterson back in December. And then a couple of months before that, she had a performance of the night in her rear naked choke victory over Juliana Lima. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, 14-2 overall in MMA. Like I said, her only 2 L's are to Rose Namajunas, the champion. 4 knockouts only, even though she's such a dynamic striker. It's more of a striking by volume situation. She's also 115 pounds or whatever, so it probably has a lot to do with it. 8-2 record in the UFC, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, with American Top Team. On the other side, Tecia Torres, 10-2 overall in MMA, just 1 submission under her record here, though. That was the rear naked choke victory over Lima. More of a ground and pounder herself. 6-2 in the UFC. It's a very similar record to Joanna on that concern there. She's standing at just 5'1", though. 61-inch reach, so a serious height and reach advantage for Joanna in this fight. Black belt in karate. She does have great kicks. We're just watching her on the UFC Tonight thing. It was pretty interesting. And then she's fighting at a triple threat. I believe that's what the gym's called in Colorado Springs. This fight opened up with Joanna at a minus 1,000, 10-1 odds, and Tecia Torres at a plus 600. It's now down to Joanna at a minus 300 and Tecia at a plus 230. I think Joanna's going to beat her up. I mean, I actually think this is going to be, another decision victory, obviously, for Joanna. Ticia's too tough. I don't think she's going to be able to get knocked out. And I don't think Joanna's going to submit her by any means. But I see this as a classic Joanna Jędrzejczyk performance. I see her going out there and just putting in smooth, vicious combinations, leg kicks, and using that reach and that range and probably just beating up Tecia Torres. I see it as a unanimous decision victory. It probably propels her maybe back to a trilogy fight with Rose, even though she's already lost the first 2. But yeah, I even might take the minus 300. Honestly, I don't think that's terribly bad either. But like I said, go ahead and give me Joanna Jędrzejczyk and put that shit on the books. Alrighty, moving on to a fucking banger. Featherweight division. This fight's going to be awesome. Number 2, Jose Aldo, ex-champ, longest reigning champ of all time, only double champ of all time in featherweight history, versus number 4, veteran, Jeremy Stephens. Jose Aldo's last 2 fights, pretty well known. TKO, third round losses in each of them to Max Holloway. The most recent one coming in December of last year. The other one coming in June of last year. Fight of the night on the first one, not the second one. Lost the championship on the first one that he had won by beating Frankie Edgar in July of 2016. That's after Conor McGregor had been absent for however long and fighting at heavyweight or lightweight, and doing whatever it is that he was doing. Obviously, one of the most decorated UFC athletes of all time. Like I said, the only 2-time featherweight champ, also the longest reigning featherweight champ, and I believe the longest reigning UFC champ of any weight division as well. Jose Aldo was. 26-4 overall record, 14 KOs, 8-3 in the UFC, 5'7", 70-inch reach, black belt in luta libre, black belt in jiu-jitsu, fighting out of Nova União, Brazil. Just a true legend in the sport. On the other side, a dude who's been more of a journeyman until recently. 3-fight win streak for Jeremy Stephens. He's actually fought 3 times in the last year. September of last year, a fight of the night victory, unanimous decision victory over Gilbert Melendez. And then January of this year, in another fight of the night, he had a second round TKO with some punches and elbows. Sick fight there over Duho Choi. And then he came back just a month later with a performance of the night, second round KO, more punches and elbows over Josh Emmett in, February 24th of this year. Going to make at least 3 fights this year, maybe 4 this year. It's going to be interesting to see. 28-14 overall record, 18 of those by KO, 15-14 in the UFC. I mean, he's spent his entire career pretty much in the UFC. 5'8.5", so he's going to have a little bit of a height advantage over Aldo. 71-inch reach, about the same. Purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so I mean, on the ground, Aldo's going to have a pretty serious technical grappling advantage. And then he's going to be fighting out of Alliance MMA, one of the better gyms, San Diego. One of the better gyms known for quality game planning, good footwork. He's got a great team around him. It looks like a fantastic fight we're going to be in for here. Alrighty, I'm looking at the odds here too. It looks like Jose Aldo's going to be a favorite, slight favorite, -130. On the other side, Jeremy Stephens is even money. I like that. Man, this fight could really go either way, though. Aldo's been knocked out 3 times now in the past, 4 or 5 fights, I believe. He has been exposed a little bit. Jeremy Stephens has knockout power over anybody, no question. So this is going to be a fantastic fight. I'm going to go ahead and take Jose Aldo. I was watching his camp today, and it looked like they were focusing about as much as they possibly could on doing some more diverse, more modern MMA stuff, along with his classic Muay Thai and his classic Jiu-Jitsu and all that. So I like where Jose Aldo's head is at. Seemed very calm. On -130, I don't think that's too bad for the money there. I mean, it could be much worse. But I'm going to go ahead and take Jose Aldo by knockout, second round. Put that in the books. Boom. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. This is going to be an awesome fight, probably the best fight on the card. This was probably going to be a fight of the night if it hadn't have been stopped for a no contest previously. Like I said, to the lightweight division again we go. Number 3, ex-champion Eddie Alvarez taking on number 4, Dustin Poirier for the second time. The first time, as I just said, ended up being a no contest. That was May of 2017. It was stopped in the second round because of a knee to the head, an illegal knee to the head thrown by Eddie Alvarez. The knee was considered accidental, so they called it a no contest rather than an automatic loss. It was a damn good fight, like I said.